School teacher accused of sex abuse may be pregnant by students, says the cops. High school teacher, 22, turned himself in on sex charges. Substitute teacher had sex with student on her first day. Teacher who had sex with student says, "Glad I got caught." Teacher's nude Snapchat photo leads to sex charge, says the cops. Gym teacher charged with 30 counts of statutory rape. Alabama has the highest rate of teacher-student sex abuse, according to a study. And one of the cases from that last headline happened right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I was a reporter and television news anchor in this community for 8 years. I have been involved in youth and young adult ministry for 17 years. I'm currently in the middle of my 15th year teaching television and film production, currently in San Diego, California. And when I hear headlines like those, they make me sad beyond belief and sick to my stomach. And I can't imagine breaking those kinds of boundaries. And unfortunately, I don't know if these are happening more these days, or if the concept of digital communication and social media make it easier to get caught, or if the 24-hour news cycle just needs more stories to tell. But what I can tell you is that those headlines came from a very short period of time this school year. And every week, I see a similar story. And for myself and the other teachers around this country, it's placing a shadow on all of our work. And many teachers are now afraid to do anything more than what's required, like lecturing, answering questions, or maybe chaperoning a special event, for fear that they might be accused of something worse. But I'm here today to stand up for the need for vulnerability and openness for teachers in the classroom and for all of us and beyond, but with proper boundaries. You see, I didn't always feel this way. I was actually one of those teachers that had a don't ask, don't tell policy. I didn't speak about my personal beliefs or my personal activities with my students. But one day, about 4 years ago, something went wrong in my brain, and I developed a speech impediment or stutter out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, openness became vital to my ability to teach. Take a look at this video of me on television reporting the news, and then me during the time that I was struggling with my speech.
Well, a sea of crimson and orange descended upon Tuscaloosa today as Alabama and Tennessee battled it out for bragging rights at Bryant-Denny Stadium. ABC 3340's Mike Marr is in Tuscaloosa tonight. He joins us now live. Mike, what's the feel there? We know we didn't get a big win for Bama.
School was my strongest fight from being in kindergarten till sophomore year of high school. I never wanted to go to school. I was afraid, I was unmotivated, I didn't feel like it. I hated schedules because of my cluttered mind. I had medical issues that were left untreated, and the more time I went on, the only problematic things became for me.
Parkinson's medication now controls my speech, and it often leaves me drowsy and tired as one of the side effects. What's also happened in the midst of all of this is I now have a pretty intense fear of public speaking. This is only the second time that I have given a prepared public speaking incident in over 5 years. But what I learned during that time is that vulnerability, when necessary and for the sake of yourself and others, can teach more than any other mode of instruction. You see, while I was struggling with my speech, I continued to teach my high school classes. I tried to hide it at first, but after a while that became hard. I used guest artists to help teach lessons, but eventually, after seeking doctor after doctor, specialist after specialist, to no solution, I finally ended up in speech therapy. And my speech therapist actually told me that I was making things worse by not talking and blocking my speech. So that next day, I walked into my classroom and in front of 40 high school students spoke with a full-blown stutter for the first time. To me, I sounded like Porky Pig. And then I did it again 3 times that day to 3 other classes. And then a week later, one night to all of their parents at back-to-school night. And then shortly after that, to the faculty at my school at a staff meeting. And the radical change that I experienced from those moments of personal vulnerability changed the way that I teach and I live. I am now more comfortable with sharing what's going on in my life with my students and my coworkers, and they're more comfortable sharing the same types of things with me. My classroom and my school feels more like a community, and I feel like I can accomplish anything because of the support I have there, and I look forward to going to work each day. A little over a year ago, I stood on a stage in front of 400 high school students, including some of my own, and I shared with them my struggle. I told them about my fear of public speaking, and I talked to them about the personal identity crisis that I had because of this struggle. I even showed them the tattoo that I had inked on the side of my body to remind me of my true identity. The lion represents Aslan from the Chronicles of Narnia, and for me, he represents the strength and courage that I discovered that I had during this time. And the Bible verse reminds me that I am loved, blessed, chosen, hopeful, accepted, regardless of my challenges or talents. And that moment on that stage was scary and difficult and beautiful all at the same time. I received notes and cards and emails from students, teachers, people in the community, and once it went online, from people around the world. Many people told me that my willingness to be vulnerable in that moment helped them share their struggles with someone else in their life. Here's an example of one of the emails I received from one of my students.
Hey, Mr. Rains. I just wanted to say I really appreciate you sharing your feelings with us in class today about your stutter. I feel you have opened up more recently, and I'm knowing you more on a personal level. I really connected when you said that if you have a problem, you have to tell everyone and really share and open up to the people around you. I just did that and opened up to my parents about something personal, and I definitely felt more accepted and motivated to get over it, and again, not having one specific thing define me. Thank you for sharing your story. I really, really appreciate it, and look up to you no longer just as a teacher, but in a whole new light. You have really inspired me, and I think that's so strong of you to face your fears in order to have others do just that. You have motivated me to do the same. Thanks again.
That video was created by one of my current students. I said to him, "Hey Greg, I have an idea for an animated video for my talk, but I don't know how to do it. Will you help me?" You hear that? I told my student I don't know how to do it, and I asked him to help me. And that moment of vulnerability between a teacher and a student created a really cool project. That's the kind of teacher that I want to be. I now start every semester with my new students sharing the videotaped version of that talk on the first day of class. And sometimes their questions, meaningful and thoughtful, cause me to cry on the first day of class in my classroom where I'm the authority figure. And as you heard, one of my former students saw my talk online, and it's one of the main reasons we're here today and was the catalyst for this event. So when is it appropriate for the teacher to become the lesson? I showed you some pretty awful examples of teachers who have gone way beyond what is appropriate with students early on. And while those are extreme cases that are being highlighted in the news today, I believe that they probably started with little breaks and boundaries. So even though I'm willing to be more open and vulnerable with my students, I still have very strong boundaries of what I will and won't do. None of my students have my cell phone number. They will not receive personal text messages from me. I don't discuss my dating life with them, and I don't ask them about theirs. They can't be my Facebook friend until they graduate. I go out of my way not to be alone in a classroom or anywhere else with one student. I rarely hug students unless there's been a major triumph or a personal tragedy. You see, I'm not supposed to be their friend, their parent, or a close personal relationship. My job as a teacher is to teach, to encourage, to empathize and listen to them, and to accommodate them when things are happening in their life that need accommodations. And if something they tell me is extremely serious, I need to contact their parent and or a counselor to help get them more help. When you think about the teachers who meant the most to you when you were in school, they weren't your buddy. They didn't spend time with you outside of the school day, and they certainly didn't call you after school hours on your personal or home phone. The teachers who meant the most to me were those that were genuine, passionate about their content area, and transparent about what mattered. That's the kind of teacher I want to be. For example, last fall, when my mom was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer, I told my students what was going on, and I explained to them why I would be gone for a while. And while I was gone, they stepped up to the plate and helped our TV and film production program continue to run. They even made sure that our weekly TV show got on the air without me. And just a month ago, when we found out that my mom's cancer is back, I found myself in front of class having the same conversation, and they're doing the same thing for me right now. You see, I've learned that being vulnerable in a safe, caring, and encouraging community is both helpful and healing. If the people who are close to you, whether by proximity or relationship, don't know you're hurting, they can't help. And chances are, if you share your struggles with them, it will encourage and help them with theirs. When I was forced by unforeseen circumstances to share my struggle with my students, it was transformational for them and for me. You can't teach those lessons in a book or on a computer. They have to be modeled and experienced. I'm not a math teacher by any means, but now my life and my classroom are guided by this simple math equation. Experiences plus vulnerability plus boundaries equal community. So when you find yourself being asked questions about your disappointments, your sadness, your successes, things that get you down, don't be afraid to answer. It's just the start of genuine community. Now, for the past few moments, I've basically been the teacher in this rather large classroom. And honestly, that's what's helping me with this whole fear of public speaking thing, because I'm comfortable now with classroom talk. So before I leave, I want to practice a little bit of what I've been trying to teach. And I hope that when you leave here, that you will try to do this in the places where you have influence, whether that's the classroom, the workplace, your home, or wherever it may be. When I first started taking Parkinson's medication and I was dealing with the drowsiness that it was causing in my life, I wrote this in my journal. I wrote it for me. I never thought that I would be able to share it in public, much less speak it out on a stage. But I want to share part of it with you today, and my hope is it will be encouraging and helpful for you, but also for me. Out of nowhere, the words in my head won't come out clearly. I wake up each morning and I hate the sound of my own voice. I yell and I curse, trying to force the words to come out right. I hide at events and I avoid the phone, feeling embarrassed and slow. I cry because it feels like a part of me has died. Parkinson's medication now controls my speech, but it leaves me drowsy and drained. And I ask myself, how can I feel so sad when there's so many worse things going on in the world, when all I've lost is the clarity of speech or the energy of a young adult? But I press on, engaging in the things I love: exercise, the beach, travel, films, television, reading. I press on, teaching, leading ministry, drawing closer to the ones I love. I press on because I feel the love of my faith, my family, and my friends more than ever before. I press on because I see how my story is being used to impact others. I press on. Thank you for allowing me to share some of my story today. As someone who wasn't sure that he would ever speak on stage again, I can honestly say it has been a joy to speak to you. And my hope is that when you hear those stories of teachers who are betraying the trust that has been given to them by students in our communities, that you will think of my story and that you will realize that there are way more teachers across this country who are like me than like them. Thank you.